All right, if you're leading a finance firm today, you know the pressure is on. It's immense. But look, we're not here to talk about just making little tweaks around the edges. We're talking about a fundamental, ground-up shift in how you operate. So let's just dive right in, shall we? This is the new strategy for global accounting.
For a long, long time, this was the playbook, wasn't it? I mean, everybody knew it. You had a pile of high-volume, kind of low-complexity work, you'd ship it offshore, hope to trim the budget, and, well, you crossed your fingers. It was just a line item, right? A simple cost-cutting move. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah? Well, that whole mindset, it's officially a relic. It's done. The firms that are really winning, the ones pulling way ahead of the pack, they're looking at this through a completely different lens. So if you're still thinking of global partners as just a way to save a few bucks, I gotta tell you, you're missing the entire point, the biggest part of the story.
So that brings us right to our first section, beyond cost savings. We're going to talk about how global accounting has evolved. You know, it's not just a shortcut anymore. It's become this core strategic weapon for getting your hands on top-tier talent and building a finance team that actually drives your firm's growth.
So you might be asking, why? Why did this all change? Well, it's not random. It's a direct response to a very, very real problem. Let's dig into Section 2, the U.S. accounting squeeze. And trust me, squeeze is the right word for it.
I bet this slide hits close to home for a lot of you. I mean, look at this. You've got fewer and fewer professionals actually coming into the field. At the exact same time, the regulations are getting insanely complex. The seasonal workloads, forget about it. They're just brutal. And on top of all that, your clients expect everything yesterday with better insights. It's the definition of a perfect storm.
And this right here, this is the heart of the problem. The traditional model, just hire more people in the office, it's broken. The engine has seized, it's way too slow, it costs a fortune, and frankly, the specialized talent you need, good luck finding it. It simply cannot keep pace with demand. Okay, so if the old way is broken, what's the fix? That's what Section 3 is all about. We're going to look at what's replacing it, the global team model. This is the new blueprint that the smartest firms are building their future on.
So what is it, really? At its core, global accounting is just smart work distribution. That's it. Instead of trying to cram everything into one expensive office, you build one single, cohesive team that just happens to be spread across a few strategic spots around the world.
And this table here really breaks down how it works in practice. It's so smart. Your onshore U.S. team gets to stop doing the grunt work. They're freed up to focus on the high-value stuff, strategy, final reviews, and actually talking to clients. Meanwhile, your offshore team, say in India, is crushing the heavy lifting, all the processing, the reporting, the reconciliations. The beauty of it is that everyone is playing to their strengths.
Okay, so you probably noticed I mentioned India specifically. That wasn't an accident. There's a very good reason for that. So, in Section 4, let's get into exactly why India has become the global hub for high-end accounting talent. This is key.
And listen, the most important thing to get here is that this is not about cheap labor anymore. Forget that. We're talking about a massive, and I mean massive, pool of highly qualified accountants. These folks are deeply trained in U.S. GAAP and IFRS. They've got decades of experience working with U.S. firms, and the whole infrastructure over there is incredibly mature. This isn't basic data entry. This is why you're seeing firms trust their teams in India with really complex stuff like fund accounting.
All right, I know what you're thinking. The idea sounds great, but how does it actually work? How do you get a team spread across the globe to operate like a well-oiled machine? Let's get into the nuts and bolts in Section 5, making it work seamlessly. First up, you've got a strategic choice to make, nearshore or offshore. Think of it this way. Nearshore, that's teams in nearby countries, similar time zones. That's fantastic if you need constant, real-time chatter back and forth. Offshore, on the other hand, think India, gives you access to a much deeper talent pool and way more scalability. That's your go-to for high-volume, really complex work. There's no one right answer. It's all about what your firm needs.
And this right here is the modern way to do it. This is so critical. We are not talking about just firing off random projects to some anonymous vendor. No way. The new model is about building dedicated, full-time teams that are 100% aligned with your firm's mission. You integrate them. They learn your systems, your workflows. You keep total control, you get consistent quality, and you can scale up or down without all the usual risk. They literally become an extension of your team.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? Security? The minute you mention sending financial data overseas, alarm bells go off for some people. And that's fair. It's an absolutely critical question, and thankfully, it's one the industry has poured a ton of resources into solving.
Look, the top-tier global partners today are running on Fort Knox-level security. We're talking ISO-certified systems, everything's encrypted, secure virtual desktops, super strict access controls, the whole 9 yards. To be perfectly honest, a lot of these dedicated offshore setups are actually more secure than a smaller firm's in-house IT, which might not have the same level of formal governance.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. Let's tie this all together. When you stop thinking about cost cutting and you truly embrace this new model, what's the real win? What's the ultimate strategic advantage for your firm?
The payoff is, honestly, it's transformative. You're giving your best people their time back so they can actually focus on strategy and taking care of clients. You're getting reports out faster and more accurately. You're improving compliance. You're reducing risk. And your internal teams are way less stressed out. And what happens when all that comes together? Your clients are happier and your overall profitability goes up. It's a domino effect.
And that right there, that's the big idea. That's the mindset shift we've been talking about this whole time. When you get this right, accounting stops being a bottleneck. It stops being a cost center. It becomes a powerful engine for your firm's growth.
So, I'm going to leave you with one final question to take back to your team. A simple one, but a big one. Look at your own operation right now and ask yourself honestly, is our accounting function a cost center or is it a strategic asset? Because believe me, how you answer that question is probably going to define your firm's success for years to come.